Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by
Metalloid Firearms and Sports, utilizing botanical technologies to develop an advanced high-performance line of environmentally friendly firearm maintenance products that will not only clean and protect your firearms, but also your leather and wood components. Find out more at metalloidfirearmsproducts.com. And by Mr. Muskie Charters, offering full-service guided fishing trips for walleye, muskie, bass, and sturgeon on Lake St. Clair and the Detroit and St. Clair rivers. Booking information is online at mrmuskiecharters.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson and we've got a great show in store for you this week. Now, hunting seasons are opening left and right here in the month of September, and we've got something for all of you hunters to get excited about. I'll take you to a waterfowl decoy carving competition where we get to see some incredibly talented folks out there that enjoy waterfowling, but also spend a lot of time indoors creating these masterpieces to hunt over. You won't want to miss that story. But before we get to that, Jimmy's got some other fun in store for us.
Well, that's right, Jenny. Lots of good stuff on this week's show, and it is exciting that the hunting seasons are getting going. And of course, this upcoming weekend is the youth deer season. We're going to have a good deer hunt for you on this week's show. But because it happened a couple of weeks ago, it was inside a high fence facility. Now, we don't go into those very often, but we do for two reasons. One, for our veterans when they're doing a really kind of a neat event, and that's going to be coming in a couple of weeks here in Michigan Out of Doors. And on this week, we're going to tag along with some terminally ill and physically challenged kids. I tell you what, it's a story that hopefully will warm your heart and get you ready for the upcoming deer seasons. We also have a really cool rabbit recipe as the small game season is now open, and I think we're going to have time for a bragging board as well, so lots of good stuff. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan Out of Doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's the love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen. By KL Outdoor, a Muskegon manufacturer of sportsmen's outdoor products for over 30 years, featuring the Terrain line of hard-sided hunting blinds designed for quick setup and removal with quiet operation. For more information and other products, kloutdoor.com. By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows. Manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan, G5 offers archery bows, broadheads, and accessories. On the web at g5outdoors.com.
We all have one, that perfect spot, a special place we go to smooth out the ripples of the day. Our perfect spot is calling. Our perfect spot is Pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
Just outside of the Big Rapids area is the Two Hats Ranch. This place is like a restaurant/resort/bed and breakfast/high-end deer camp. When I arrived a few weeks back, the young hunters that were hoping to take a nice buck were doing a little fishing to pass the time in the middle of the day.
We've got all of the wonderful hunters here, and of course they're the ones that are catching all of these. They're catching bluegill and they're catching bass, and they're just having a terrific time. A couple of trout have been caught in here, so they're doing a nice job in here.
Nice. And how many kids we got here this time?
I think we've got 8 altogether for the hunt.
Okay.
So, and of course we've got about 4 more minutes of fishing, and then it's time to go back to the lodge and getting towards that magical time to start hitting the woods again.
Nice. And what's your role here this week?
Well, I'm a member of the Michigan chapter of Safari Club International, and I'm one of the sponsors. I've got a hunter here and his father, and we're kind of helping them out and just having a good time together.
Each kid did have some help in making this hunt possible. No charge to the families. It takes quite a few people, including the folks here at the ranch, to cover the costs involved. So with some good food in the belly, we were ready to hit the woods.
All right, Bailey, is it all right if I tag along with you tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. You gonna shoot a big one?
Hopefully.
All right, that's good.
I was able to track down one of the head folks around here, Colby Bettis, to learn more about this very special hunt and why they've been doing this for close to 20 years.
God has given us this ground, given us this opportunity to manage this ground, and so what can we do to glorify Him? And that's all a part of it. And you know, I mean, these kids, they got whatever you want to call it, a raw deal. They have tough times in life, and we want to be a shining moment. And some of these kids, they're not going to be around long. You know, I mean, they've got something terminal. This is a time where we can minister to their heart, get them in the woods, get them outdoors, something that they don't maybe have ever gotten to do, and be a bright spot. When they're sitting there in the hospital and going through a chemo treatment or whatever, having a hard day, they can think about, you know, talking to the nurse or the doctor, you know, I went hunting, and if that will bring a smile to their face on that day, it's success.
Bailey Olson was my hunter today. Bailey was diagnosed a few years back with cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma. He fought it for a couple years and is doing well today. We were seeing a lot of nice deer, but right at dark, the kind of deer our guide Jared Peterson was looking for, well, it came into view, and we were hoping we could make this all work.
Hey, Maddie. I got him. All right, you just tell me what he's doing in a second.
He's just got his head down. Oh, it's up again.
Okay, shoot that deer, buddy. Wait. Do you see that brown spot right behind his shoulder?
Yeah.
All right, aim just a little bit on the back side of that, halfway up his body.
Okay.
Do you got it good and steady?
Yep.
Is the safety off?
Yeah.
All right, let's wait till he picks his head up. There you go, there's a little bit better. Okay, can you tuck it right behind his shoulder?
Yep.
You on him, Jimmy?
Yep.
Okay, Bailey, go ahead and shoot that deer. Crushed him.
I got him.
Crushed him.
Well, walk us through what happened there, young fella.
I thought we were trying to get the bigger one, but just wouldn't hide. Just kept hiding behind them. And then finally came out. I thought I was gonna miss it. For a second there, I was about to give up and just take my shoulder off.
You had great concentration.
He did. You were getting a lot of instructions there from all of us.
that was getting crazy. we were all getting excited. That's what the problem was.
Well, I have to say there were 5 of us in that blind, and it was about as exciting as could be. A great night in the woods.
You know, I think what Jared was doing was keeping you distracted from one. He had that one in the mind all along. He was just putting you through your paces there.
It was getting dark. I was thinking, Yeah, that one was hard to see.
Yeah.
You did a great job, though, Bailey, of keeping your eye on that deer.
Yeah. Well, that walk up to your buck, it's always a very special time.
Holy smokes! Hard-horned and everything. Boy, that's a dandy. Nice.
Fine.
I get in trouble for that one,
It was big enough.
I know the gate code. Okay.
What do you think, Dad?
That's awesome. That's great. That's just been a great experience. These guys have just been great here. I love the excitement inside the box. It was like everyone was excited. It was just.
That's perfect.
Oh, it was.
It's moments like this that are very special, and why so many folks chip in to make events like this happen. Father and son got to have a memory they will never forget. And for many of the kids at this event, this is their first time hunting. For some, they have been before, but this environment makes it a little bit more doable. Back at camp, the trucks were rolling in. The place was electric as we heard the stories and saw the smiles.
What happened here tonight?
I shot this buck.
Yeah, what happened? How far away was he?
120 yards.
Nice.
About.
Okay, and is this your first buck?
Yep.
Wow, congratulations. Were you a little nervous?
Yes.
Yeah. That was your dad with you?
Yeah.
Was he more nervous than you? Probably. Awesome, buck. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Daniel Bosch had a camera with him tonight as well, and it was looking good as this nice deer gave him the shot he was looking for.
Right behind the shoulder, just squeeze the trigger.
Look at you, buddy. Good job, man. Woo!
I have to say, I really didn't know what to expect on this hunt, not being on anything really quite like this before, but I have to say it was really a lot of fun, and it meant the world to many of these families. And I really think it was just as meaningful for all of the folks that were here volunteering.
I love watching the progression of these kids. I love watching relationships form. I love watching kids that maybe don't have a whole lot to laugh about, laughing and having a good time. And those are as I look back over the years, those are the times that stick out. Seeing two boys that are here this year, one from the Grand Rapids area and one from Oklahoma, hang out like they have known each other and talk and laugh like they've known each other since they were born. That's what it's about.
The outdoors is one of the best places to build those relationships. And as many of you get ready to take your own young hunter afield this season, and especially this early youth season, don't take it for granted. Life is precious. Thanks to the folks at the Two Hats Ranch for reminding us.
As we travel around the state, it's always fun to meet all sorts of different sportsmen and women and see all the different talents that we have here in our great state. In this next story, we get to see some pretty artistic talent on display. A few weeks back, we were invited to Perch Point Conservation Club in the southeast part of the state to check out a wildfowl decoy carving competition that has a long history with waterfowlers here in the Midwest, especially folks here in Michigan.
This is the 33rd year that we've been putting on a decoy show. It's first started up in Algonac, then it moved to Harson's Island, now it's moved out to Perch Point. It's kind of a Michigan staple for us. Pretty big years of carving, Ben Schmidt and some of the older guys. They call it the flats birds. So yeah, this is just a remembrance of the old hunting decoys show, basically gunners and a few little fancier decoys.
John Jones is one of the original members of the St. Clair Flats Club and is a former world champion carver. John was here to help with the judging and explained the different categories we'd see today.
There's mainly three types of decoys. There's the decorative and then the what they call now is the IWCA style. It's a really fancy gunner, but has less work than the decoratives. And then we have basically our market gunners, which are a very simple bird, going back more to the roots of a traditional hunting decoy. So we basically have the market gunner and the IWCA style birds here today.
Yeah, on this shelf here is our standard gunning birds, which don't have a lot of paint, but the silhouette, shapes, and colors got to be right. That's what they're looking for, basically. The judges are all going to stand about 20 foot back. They can't get no closer. Oh. So its silhouettes are important, colors very, very important, and if the bird looks comfortable, the pose looks comfortable is important.
Those are the key features that the market gunner decoys will be judged on, but carvers in all categories, including decorative class and the IWCA class, or International Wildfowl Carver Association, need to start with some key components too.
I think the most important part of a decoy is the pattern, your basic bare bones pattern. When you put it on, that it all goes together easily, and it paints so it looks like the silhouette looks like what you're trying to carve. So the pattern's one of the most important, and that comes from reference. Photos, pictures, hunting. It's one of the oldest folk arts around. There's not many. The Indians made decoys to hunt over. The old market gunners that shot, hundreds and hundreds of birds, they made their own birds. And now it's mostly everybody hunts over plastic. We're trying to keep the tradition of wood carving alive.
The tradition is alive and well here at the St. Clair Flats competition. There are some fairly intricate carvings offered here, including a shorebird category and a professional class of waterfowl decoys that are truly amazing to see.
The birds are separated. We have 2 different tanks that they're going to be judging at. We'll have 3 judges for each type of bird. The market gunners will be in one tank, the IWCA in the other. And they start out basically, we'll do individual species of marsh ducks and then go through to the divers and then any miscellaneous or confidence and goose decoys. That'll happen in both tanks. And then all the blue ribbon winners of each species then go together and are judged against one another to get the top 3 in that category. And then the winner of that category and the other 2 categories will go in the tank for best of show. And then after that, we'll go back and whatever took second place behind the best of the show bird, that bird will come back in the tank and be judged against the other ones. So we try to be fair and make sure we get the absolute best birds in the show.
What are you guys looking for right now?
Well, we like to look to see how they float. We're looking for accurate colors and
field markings and
definitely field markings.
Yep.
Like we already noticed, some of the bill colors are drastically different than some of the other ones, and that's one of the first things we picked out. The size of the head compared to the size of the body on one of them kind of bothered us a little bit.
Okay.
So start with that. Plus they have to be floating right, floating right, and how high or low are they floating on the water. All that is specific to different species.
Mainly we're looking at likeness to the species, you know, how the bird projects, does it look like the bird they're portraying? The physical attributes of it, the paint job, the overall carving, and then the how it floats. The flotation of the bird is very important. And again, that kind of goes back to the old rules of the actual hunting decoys. And you know, basically if you get it to look like the bird, it could be a simple but effective paint job, you know, you're going to do well with it. The IWCA birds are a little more entailed because they've got a little more detail, a little more paint. It's just a more elevated style of carving, but basically you're looking for the same things in both categories.
And the folks here at the St. Clair Flats Wildfowl Association are doing their part to make sure the art and tradition of decoy carving are passed down to the next generation. Kids had a chance to get a feel for painting decoys from some of the best carvers in the world. The judges had their work cut out for them with the beautiful entries in this year's competition. I couldn't stay for the award ceremony, but club member George Keller was kind enough to send photos of the top winners in each category. One thing is for sure, we have lots of talented carvers here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Well, hey, we are back again with Jim Wood from the Antlers Fireside Grill here in Canadian Lakes. Jim, it's been a little while since we've been with you, and you're going to do rabbit on this week's show. Now, we're into the small game season, so let's jump right into it. What's the best way to cook a rabbit?
Well, best way to cook rabbit is low and slow.
Low and slow.
And they're constantly on their feet, they're constantly running, so you got to break down that muscle in a slow fashion. Stuff you'd get at a restaurant is a lot different.
Okay.
You know, they don't move around nearly as much as a wild rabbit does. So.
Okay. So how do we start? What are we going to do to start? And we're doing a one-pot thing, which I kind of like. Is it simple,
One pot, yep.
straightforward? You could even do it on your tailgate of your truck if you needed to.
You could. I've never had rabbit on a tailgate, but it sounds interesting. So we're going to start off by giving each of our legs here a little bit of salt. After that, we're going to take our rabbit, we're going to dredge it. I've got a combination here of all-purpose flour, a little bit of garlic powder, and a little bit of onion powder.
Okay. And what kind of oil was that, did you say?
This is just vegetable oil. Yeah. You can use butter. You can use whatever oil you want. It's not going to make a dramatic difference in the dish.
Okay.
But whatever your preference is.
Gotcha.
So basically, like I said, all you're doing is browning this.
You just brown both sides?
Yep.
Okay.
Once you get a little brown on it, you're going to go ahead and flip it over. And you're going to give it another 30 seconds or so. Now these little brown bits that you see in the pan here, that's all flavor, and it's going to get released later on when we add some liquid to the pan, which is just going to flavor the dish as you go. So once you get your brown on all sides, you're just going to take it out. Then we're going to add a little bit of bacon to the dish because, I mean, bacon makes anything taste good.
Why not?
Exactly. Turn our heat down a little bit. And then we have what's known as mirepoix, which is a combination of onion, carrots, and celery.
Oh, okay.
And then we're going to add that right to the pan also. More celery in there.
Okay.
And we're just going to kind of saute these down. Release the flavor and the fat from the bacon itself.
And so what do we got there?
This is just Chardonnay, white wine.
Okay.
And we're going to let that reduce down till it's about dry, which will go pretty quickly because we only added about a half a cup. So once that reduces down, then we're going to go in with our mustard. So this is a very classic dish. It's kind of my interpretation of it. It's called mustard rabbit.
Okay.
So we're going to add about a quarter cup.
And that's just what kind of...
This is whole grain mustard. You can use Dijon mustard. Don't use the mustard you get in a squeeze bottle that you put on your hot dog. That's not going to taste as good. This whole grain mustard has the grains in it, so it gives a little more body, gives the final dish a little more flavor.
Okay.
Then we're going to go ahead and we've got 3 cups of chicken stock here.
If you can make this yourself, or you can buy it in the store.
And if you happen to be a hunter who makes their own rabbit stock, perfect.
Even better.
Perfect. Okay. So after that hits the pan, I've got some fresh herbs here. I've got some bay leaf.
Okay.
And some thyme. Nice. And we're going to drop our rabbit right in there.
And then would you cover it and let it cook for a little while?
Yeah, we're going to simmer it, let it cook for a couple hours. And when it's all done...
So this is on a low, medium heat here?
Low,
or this?
Low heat, yeah. You're just looking for a simmer.
Okay.
And we're going to cover it, which is going to create some pressure. And when it's done, we'll actually take the rabbit legs out, add a little cream. It's going to be pretty thick at that time, but if we need to thicken it more, we will, and then we're just going to put the sauce right over the rabbit.
Okay, well, let's let it sit for a little bit and do its thing.
We did add a little heavy cream to the sauce, which thickened it right up. Really made for a great dish. This rabbit recipe is quite tender and something you may want to try this year. For the full recipe, check out our website.
Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you check us out online next time you get a chance. You can do it a couple of different ways on our website at MichiganOutofDoorsTV.com or on our Facebook page at Michigan Out of Doors TV. We're on Facebook every few days letting you know where we are and where we're headed next, and we have a lot of fun in store for you. You could check that all out on Facebook or on upcoming episodes this fall on Michigan Out of Doors.
Well, we do have a lot of good stuff happening over the next few weeks here in Michigan Out of Doors. On next week's program, we're going to show you kind of an in-depth look at what goes into training our conservation officers. Really kind of a neat story. You get to see all that goes into that. We're also going to have the small game season is kicking off, so we should have some of those hunts coming up very soon. The youth deer season is this weekend, so hopefully we'll have something to show you as well next week. But make sure you stay tuned over the next several weeks as we get into the hunting seasons and all the great fall fishing. Lots happening here in the great state of Michigan. Make sure you join us right here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Rosie Brothers and Kubota. Located in Dryden, Michigan, Rosie Brothers has been serving Michigan for over 40 years. Specializing in outdoor needs, Rosie Brothers features Kubota tractors and equipment for use in farm, home, or commercial needs. On the web at rosiebrosinc.com. By the Michigan chapters of Safari Club International. For over 40 years, SCI has been protecting hunters' rights and promoting wildlife conservation here in Michigan and around the world. SCI chapter locations can be found on the web at firstformichigan.org. By Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises of Munising, exploring Lake Superior's Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore with its sandstone cliffs, caves, waterfalls, and lighthouses. Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises on the web at picturedrocks.com. Closed captioning is provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you mine.